talking about challenges, for every success story out there, there are also like challenging stories you may never hear about, or maybe you may hear about. And I definitely want to paint a balanced picture of, yes, it's the excitement about doing hard things, getting results, feeling accomplished, but then there's the other side that comes before the success story. So let's get into it. I'm gonna put this aside. So I think for me, there are times where I'm confronted with thoughts about doubts of completing or accomplishing a goal, especially since, like we said in the other video, these goals are goals that I may never have seen anybody close to me achieve, or maybe super really hard that everybody else has an opinion of whether it's possible to accomplish them or not. And no matter how positive you are, no matter how motivational you are, you're going to have that 1 second, that minute, or maybe that hour where these kinds of thoughts come rushing down. And I've had my own fair share. And in those moments, it almost feels like, who do you think you are to have this kind of goals, or to think you can run a marathon, or think you can go compete in a pageant? Like, what qualifies you? And I've had this moment. One thing I've found is in that moment, it's not great at all. It feels terrible. And there's always two things you can do. You can dwell in that thought and really affirm that thought and say, you're right. Nobody in my family has ever done this, or that's so true. Only 1% of the world ever gets there. Or you can look the other way and say, I'll tell you who I am. And you begin to remind yourself of experiences and other things that you've done. So that's exactly what I do in those moments. And I take it a step further and talk about it with a friend. Just so you know, here are the thoughts I had about this situation. And they, without me asking, also reinforce and remind me of where I'm coming from. So I'll say that's one challenge. The other challenge is actually facing the possibility of failure. I think that is so real. What if I don't finish this High Rocks race that I've signed up for, and the whole world is waiting to see, will she finish? Instead of dwelling on those, the negative aspects of those thoughts, I've taken those thoughts and said, you know what? Let's turn this into motivation and focus on what I can control. And stay focused without wondering about possibilities I don't even want to be part of my outcomes. So those are two main challenges. And then the last one is, people around you may not just understand. You may almost feel like, oh, nobody understands me. Or people may say, oh, you overachiever. Like, just relax. Why are you doing something else? And I don't necessarily see this as a challenge. It can become a challenge when you're having the first two things I talked about happening at the same time. But when I hear those kind of comments, I smile and I laugh, because everybody has a destination. And I think I know my destination. I don't know the specifics of the destination, but it's one that requires me to do hard things. And I understand that. And I know that the rest of the world will not understand that. So when I get those comments, they don't seem like a challenge to me. I just smile and keep it moving, because I get the vision. They don't. And they don't need to until it actually happens in real life and they catch on to that. So those are some challenges I have experienced and how I navigate that. Right. I think it's very important. Like I tell people, this life is one, meaning YOLO. You only live once. And that could mean, oh, I want to make the most out of life so that when I look back, I like die empty. We've all heard that phrase, I want to die empty, you know? But I do think, because I have that thought process that YOLO, you don't know when your last day is, you want to make the best out of it. It's not only for hard things. It also applies to the fun things of life, which is why I would sometimes make some spontaneous decisions like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to Bangladesh for a friend's wedding, when that was not in my year's plan. Because what are the odds you go to Bangladesh again? Or who are the people you're going to meet? Like the different perspective you're gonna get. Or the same way, I could just say, you know what, we're just sleeping in today, you're not doing anything, or we're gonna hang out with a group of people, or we're just gonna go on a junk boat. So I think for me, I just try my best to say, like, at the end of the day, you have one life, you really have one body. So taking good care of myself is very important, and that includes listening to my body, but also seeing like what are the things you love to do. People who know me know I love to write, I love to dance, I love to like people just say I'm a comedian. I don't even know. I don't try to be funny, but like I'm funny. So like I try to make sure I'm doing a couple of these things as I go through. So even if I'm doing a hard thing, does not mean that ends it there. You can talk to my workout partner. She will tell you in the middle of the workout, we have music playing throughout the workout, and in the middle of it, I'm like breaking into a dance session. Like, because for me, it's all about integration. Balance is, to be honest, I know everybody talks about work-life balance. I think it's more about integration, because if you really put everything on the table, there's really no balance. At least for those of us that are walking this path that we're walking, if we want to be honest with ourselves. So it's more like, how can I integrate it? Like, oh, let's say I'm working on a project, but then I could have music in the background because I love music. And that may be an inspiration, or that could help set the atmosphere. Versus saying, oh, you know what, I can no longer listen to my music because I have so much work to do. So for me, it's more about like, how can you bring things into your life to make it well-rounded? And it's not perfect. Every single day, every single like season, we're always trying to like rebalance and figure it out. But that's how I think about it. At the end of the day, hard things can be hard. They could also bring fun experiences, but they shouldn't take out of the fun of life. Because again, YOLO. And what's the point of working so hard if you don't have so much fun along the way? "100%, like no man, no woman is an island." And that's something I grew up hearing, and it's so true. And I have my family members, I have my siblings, I have my friends, I have my really close friends. I have people like from work who believe in a vision of me, a vision of who I could be. And there are people I also like, I have trust in, that I'm able to say, listen, I'm not feeling my 100% right now. And do you have a word for me? Or even before I say, do you have a word? Somebody can say like, hey, I just kind of like sense that you have this going on. Let me share a word of prayer, or let me send this word of encouragement. And I think it's always very important, because no matter how motivational I am, how optimistic I am about life, I will always need people. Like you always want to do things with people. So 100% yes. And I'm always looking for that. And the same way, it's not just only people pouring into me. It's like, how can I be that person for even someone I don't know? So support system is big. The only caveat I would say is there are some roads that you can only walk alone, no matter who your support system is. And you need to build that capacity for moments like that. They're not always every day, but when they come, you want to feel like you have the capacity to make it through. So there are sometimes nobody can understand what you're feeling, maybe because they've not experienced it or they don't know what it is. And you can't get mad at them because they don't understand that. But then you need to be okay to say, listen, this is my journey, this is unique to me, and I'm walking this path. Though it may seem like no one is here, I know what these people are thinking in terms of support. I wish they can support more, but they can't. And it's okay, because everyone always has a path, a road, a season where others cannot walk with them in that moment. So with that, remember, for every success story, there's a challenge. Hard things don't mean impossible things. And just because there are challenges along the way does not mean it's not the right path. Because sometimes I feel like in the era of soft life, we actually mistake soft life for no challenges or no difficulty along the way. Difficulties are meant to prepare you for the next level. And unless you're not looking to level up, then maybe hard things aren't for you. But if you're looking to level up, if you're looking for the future version of yourself, definitely begin doing hard things today. And when the challenges show up, don't let that derail you from your goals. Remember, just because there's a challenge does not mean it's the wrong path. In fact, it is the right path, because on the other side of that challenge is a version of you that not only overcame, but grew. So get to doing hard things and facing your challenges. Until next time.